Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
And a happy
New
new
Year in
year.
advance.
Hello, people. Welcome to another episode. It is Let's Toast to Life podcast, and we're here again. It's A to the N to the U. That is Anu, and I'm here with my beautiful wife.
O to the L.
Oh my God, you can't spell your name.
Ololade.
Come on. It's O to the L to the O to the L to the A N D E. Olo la de. Come on.
It was easy for you because yours is just 3 letters.
But I just
Mine is a mouthful.
I just did yours. Yeah, but it's Christmas season. Are you excited? Are you happy? A few days ago it was your birthday.
Whoop, 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 whoop,
The
whoop.
19th of December. You had a good day.
I had a good day. It was very calm. It's not like the usual birthdays that I've had in the past. In the past, I always like activities, bringing lots of people physically in my space and then being busy. But this one was very memorable. I
Nice.
liked it. It was calm. It was very meaningful. One of my closest friends surprised me all the way from the UK.
Nice.
That was a highlight. I wasn't expecting her at all, obviously. And she showed up at my doorstep thanks to Anu, who planned the coup.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a good day.
Nice. Love to hear that. And what a year we've had. Speaking about Let's Toast to Life, our first episode was released on the 3rd of June this year. And since that moment, we've released an episode every week except 1 week where we didn't. And so this is our 29th episode of this year. By the time we're done this year, we would have 30 episodes.
True.
How does that sound to you?
It sounds unbelievable because I remember when we were talking about LTTL,
Yes.
starting the podcast, we were trying to decide on the frequency that we could handle. I remember you were like, let's do once a week.
And you
And
were
I
like,
was like, no, I don't think I have that
The capacity.
capacity to release, to produce, to edit, conceptualize episodes every single week. But to see that we did it except 1 week because we traveled and we could have actually pushed ourselves, but I was like, no, I just couldn't because I was
Yeah, it's okay.
in German they say kaput. I was not feeling well. I couldn't do it. But other than that, we have tried to show up. And for me, it's really mind-blowing what you can do when you put your mind to something.
Yes. And two is better than one, you know. That's the beautiful thing about partnership, when you're not the only one doing your business.
Something, yes.
When there is someone by your side. So there could be moments there were moments when I was tired, really, and I didn't want to record or even edit, and you would be the one to ginger me or ginger like, okay, don't worry, I'm going to work out our idea storming, the editing, and then we're able to record an episode for that week. And then there are sometimes that you are the one like, I'm tired, I can't. And I'm like, okay, don't worry, just be ready, I'll bring the microphone, I'll get the idea what we need to talk about, and then we record, and we are being consistent. And I'm happy about that. And I remember when we wanted to start, we kind of aligned on what we wanted at least for this year. And I remember we had 3 things that was our focus. And we're intentional about not making the views and the likes and the subscriptions our focus, even though we always announce it. And we tell our audience, our listeners, to leave a comment, share with their friends, which is important because we believe in what we are sharing here. And we know that if one person finds it insightful, then there is a chance that there are 10 people that would find it insightful. And if there are 10 people who find it insightful, then there's a chance that it will be 100 people would also find it insightful. So of course, people liking, sharing, subscribing is going to help push out what we share and help us impact many people. But that wasn't our focus. And we're intentional about that. We can talk about why, but let's talk about what we were intentional about. There were three things. The first one was to be consistent. We wanted to show up every week, tired, whatever the case was. We wanted to make sure we recorded quality episodes and clean episodes, and we also release those episodes every week. So consistency was number one. What was number two?
Fun.
Talk
We
about
didn't
it.
want to focus too much on perfection, but just having a good time and enjoying ourselves. We didn't want to focus on what other people were doing because that would put us under pressure to keep up with all the other podcasts there are out there. We just wanted to have a good time recording and in the process even get to understand our style better.
Yes.
And what is important to us. And if you notice, if you guys follow us from the very beginning, you would see that over time we have adapted, our intro has evolved. Like we're testing out different things, but we're trying to keep fun at the center of it and not make it too rigid.
Yes.
Yes, the third one you can.
Yeah, sure. And then the third one is for us to develop ourselves. So yes, we're not looking for perfection, but we want to make sure that every episode is better than the previous one. So either like increasing or getting better with our knowledge on our topics, or getting the sound better, developing our communication skills, finding ways to be better.
Yes.
Even if it's 1%, but at least we're getting better every day. And so those were our three, focal points for this year. So babe, now what would be one word to describe this podcast year for you and why?
The word that's coming to my mind is incremental, and it kind of piggybacks on how you ended what you said the last time, talking about 1% better every day. I believe that our podcast, in my opinion, has evolved and is evolving, which is why I said incremental. So incremental means there is an increase, not just in the content itself, the number of episodes that we release, but also the thought and the intentionality that goes behind each episode.
Yeah.
We don't just come and blab. We could do that, but we decided that we want to make sure that everyone who listens to us goes away with one thing, just something, and thinks differently about the topic that we talk about. And so that's why I think that incremental would be the word that I would use to describe it.
Nice.
How about you?
Yeah, mine would be insightful. When I listen to our podcast, even after we recorded it, I find it insightful, even though we are the co-hosts. And also when I see people's comments, I say that that's like a resounding feedback we get. Oh, I found this insightful, or I found this meaningful. And that's what I would say. One word, like insightful, meaningful. Those are already two words anyways. But
yeah, not to brag, but I actually enjoy listening to our episodes.
Yep.
You know how when you create content, sometimes it's cringe for you
to go back to listen to yourself.
You're like, why do I sound like this? Why do I sound like a mosquito or something like that? But I genuinely enjoy coming back to listen to what we have discussed. And there are some times that I'm like, oh, so I said this makes a lot of sense. Because it's easy to talk and just forget, but the episodes are reminders, even for me, to put into practice what I'm saying, in case I have forgotten, because life happens.
Yeah. True. Speaking of those kind of episodes, which episode do you think, I would share mine, resonated most with people? So we have, with this included, 29 episodes. So which of them do you think resonated most with people, and maybe one reason why? You wanna go for it, or should I?
Should I pick a specific episode or a theme?
Maybe let's say episode.
Okay. Maybe I would talk about the men and women episode. Who is the better friend, men or women?
Okay.
Yes. The people who listen to our episodes are obviously men and women. And we were talking about who the better friend is, who shows up more, who is consistent, who is loyal,
Yes.
and things like that. And from what I could see, people really liked that episode because I shared from my perspective as a woman and Anu shared from his perspective as a man. So with me, I was talking about how my friendship is with my female friends, expectations, the reality, and Anu also shared from his perspective. So I think that episodes that show our differences, what makes us different from each other, and representing each of our genders usually lands well.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the one I think resonated with people, we got quite a number of feedback from that, was the who should love more. You remember?
Yes.
Who should love more? Should the man love more? Should the woman love more in the relationship? That I feel like people really love those kind of subjects about relationship, love, and I think that's something that we found out about our audience. So when we had episodes about love, relationship, we got good feedback from people about how, you know, they loved it and they resonated with what we spoke about. Nice. Another episode I think people resonated with, which is still about love, was the reality of our first 2 years in marriage. Yeah.
It's not a surprise though. I knew that it would land well because people love love.
Yes.
Also, people like when we tell our story and we share things that make them know us more.
Yeah.
So anything that is relatable, authentic, your story, testimony, people like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Anyway, if you're listening, which episode hit home for you this year? If you can leave a comment, it would be nice to read from you. Of all our episodes that you've listened to, which one really resonated with you and why? That would be nice to read. Would really appreciate that. I think we also had some that I wouldn't say we're not impactful, but it didn't feel like we landed the way we hoped.
Look, if we look at the views.
Yeah, based on the views, yeah.
But then again, you know, we said that we don't want to focus on views.
Yes.
Because whilst views could tell you something about what people like, if you're chasing only what people like, you might not be authentic as you ought to.
Absolutely.
So we would still release episodes that we feel led to create.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, we want you to know that this episode that we created, you would not like it.
Yeah. Like
at least from what we see.
For example, the Black Friday, like his Black Friday scam episode. That was about, you know, Black Friday, but even beyond Black Friday, we shared some personal experiences about some financial mistakes that we made, right, in the past and the lessons we learned. So on another thought, I'm thinking, could it be that the title was not the best, you know, where people are like, well, leave Black Friday for me, or Black Friday works for me. So like saying Black Friday is a scam, I don't know if that was the best title to describe what we talked about. All right, so let's get a little bit personal since our audience like us that way. What has podcasting taught you about yourself this year? Because now you're a podcaster, you know, you have to introduce yourself now. Hello, my name is Ololade and I'm a podcaster. So
it's funny you say that because when we went for one of our get-togethers, I introduced myself and said what I do for a living, and I missed out on this podcaster title. The host is like, oh, by the way, she's also a podcaster. I'm like,
I forgot.
I do forget, but I don't consider myself as a podcaster. I don't know. I just feel like
podcast host.
Yes, I am a podcast host, but for some reason, I somehow separate my identity from this podcasting that I do with you. Like, I wouldn't introduce myself as a podcaster. Maybe in my head, I'm not yet a podcaster, even though I create podcasts. I don't know how to explain it, but it was funny. Yeah. Anyway, to answer your question, what has podcasting taught me this year? It has taught me that I can do hard things. As I mentioned in the beginning, I didn't think that I could create episodes every week because of life's demands. But thankfully, when you have a partner who is visionary, someone like Anu, it becomes possible. So I was able to do it together with him, and he's literally the best partner ever, because areas where I'm not strong, he just takes over, and I'm very grateful for that. Podcasting has also taught me to look for ideas in the most random places, because you want to create episodes that people would fall in love with. You have to look in movies, in books, you have to find out where the people are.
So it made you more observant.
Yes, it made me more observant, and also like just almost every day I'm thinking, okay, can this be a good episode to talk about? I might be having a conversation with somebody, and in my head I'm thinking, okay, how can we turn this into an episode? So that creative part of my brain is more active because of podcasting.
And that what you said is so powerful, because I'm sorry, I have to just go here. When God created us, he created us in his image and in his likeness. And one of the likeness of God is the creative ability of God, because he's a creator. And so everybody has the capacity to create something. However, you would never tap into your creative ability if you do not start something that demands you to create something. So there are ideas everywhere. But if you're not actively creating something, you just go through life and ideas pass you by. But since we started creating our podcast and we started releasing this, we were more intentional about, how we perceive what we were experiencing. So I remember there was a movie we watched, and while we're watching the movie, of course, we're enjoying the movie, and then the light bulb just came, like, wow, this is something that we can talk about and our viewers, our audience rather, would find interesting, right? So I think this is a challenge to someone who is listening. You have creative ability in you, and unless you are in the process of production of something, you would never tap into that ability. So just create something, and it doesn't have to be a podcast. It can just be you actually writing down things. It can be you journaling. Journaling is a form of creativity, because you're basically capturing your thoughts and putting it down into words. And it will amaze you how that can just channel in a lot of things for you in diverse ways. So tap into your creative power anyways.
And it becomes easier.
Yes.
I found that the more episodes we were creating, the more episodes we were able to create.
Yes, because it's in it. We have it already. Okay, what has the podcasting taught me about myself this year? That I can do what I set my mind to do. Because I remember we wanted to start this from January, but we were waiting for certain things to be in place before we started. Like, we're thinking, should we start with a video podcast? That was what we wanted to start with. And so starting with a video podcast meant we needed to have the microphones, the video camera or iPhone, and then the background and a professional editor.
Yeah, there were just too many things.
So many things. And I remember we just said, let's start. Even if it's audio, let's start. So it taught me that I can do it, and I don't have to wait till everything is set for me to start, or for us to start. And so they taught me, just start where you are, and you would grow.
That's a very good point, because before I used to be the kind of person that would wait until I had everything, or I thought I had everything before I can proceed, because in my head I'm thinking I want to start with a bang.
With the best.
And I want to build momentum from there. But that starting with a bang can just be the reason why you don't start.
Yep.
Because you're waiting for everything to be perfect so that it's giving bang. But it might take a while to actually make it bang.
Yes.
But if you want your progress to be evident, just pick up from where you are.
Nice.
Like you said.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. So what was harder for you or for us than we expected in this podcast journey? What was harder? What part of
was harder than expected?
Yes.
To be honest, I would say nothing was harder than I expected, because I know that
you're a podcaster.
I mean, this thing called podcasting, I started it in 2018. And I started, stopped. So for me, this time around, I just knew it wouldn't be an easy journey, but because I have someone else working with me on it, I'm not alone. The conceptualization of the topics, because I know some people usually wonder, how do you even come up with your topics? It's not the easiest thing, but the more we are in tune with our environment, what's happening in the world, what's happening in our lives, what's happening in our friendships, the more we can get inspiration, right? So that part of conceptualization is not the easiest, because you also have to think about how to break it down and talk about it in a way that people can understand.
Yes.
So for me, it was expected, but it's not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, and that would be mine too. Recording was not a problem. It was the preparation before the recording.
Yes,
So the
the
idea
idea.
and how we want to communicate that idea, So that for me was, it was not so easy.
How about editing? It wasn't.
Editing was also because I do most of the editing, right? At the start, it was not easy because my editing game was not that good. So I would spend hours editing, like 30 minutes. And my wife would look at me like, babe, are you still editing? And I'm like, yeah. And this is like 3 hours into it. I'm like, hey, if you're spending 3 hours to edit, say 30 minutes clip, that's a problem. Oh.
Because if we start increasing the talking time to 1 hour,
so that means you're going to spend 6 hours to edit.
Hey God.
Yeah. And because that time I was still learning how to, edit. But now, I spend much less time to edit a podcast. So yeah, that's cool.
But it has been fun.
Yes, I enjoy it. Really, I enjoy this. It's nice, and for me, it's fulfilling because this is my creation. This is our creation.
Like we're producers.
Yes.
You know how someone will say, well, I produce music, I produce sound.
Yes.
We are also producing.
Yes.
And we are directing as well. We're scripting. We don't use scripts, but we conceptualize.
Yes.
We're like, okay, what do we want to talk about? What are the themes that we want to highlight? How do we want the episode to land? How do we want it to end? What do you want the key takeaway to be? Then imagine having to put all of that into one episode and make sure that in the end, all goals are accomplished.
Yep.
That's genius almost, don't you think?
Absolutely. It is.
Yeah.
Wow, what a year we've had. It's been so much fun doing this with you, and we are about to have a better year, 2026.
By the grace of God.
By the grace of God. But before we enter this episode, it's our joy to celebrate everyone who has listened to our podcasts. If you've listened to all of our episodes, man, I don't know what to say, but you are the real MVP. That's amazing. But I want to give shout outs to everyone who has left a comment, because I feel that's like next level, because you could listen, find it good, but to like go the extra mile and leave a comment, especially on Spotify. Now we understand that on Apple Podcasts, there is no possibility to leave a to leave a comment. And so I think we got that from some of our friends and people who listen to us on Apple, and they're like, can't believe I wish Apple Podcasts had the option. So we just want to say thank you to Coconut Head. We don't know who you are, but Coconut Head has been very, very consistent in leaving comments. Thank you for commenting. Also, Irimide has been consistent lately. Thank you, Irimide. Thank you, Shegeye. That's Shion. Thank you very much, Shion, for leaving your comment. And also, Adeolu once left a comment, should married couples get, she commented on the episode, should married couples get advice from single people? Her comment was so nice. She said, thank you very much, guys. This is me rewarding you for your consistency. That was a good comment. And we also have, of course, Toluwanimi. We have Lola. Thank you all for leaving comments. We really do appreciate. I remember we also had Tia at some point leave a comment. Victoria, thank you also for leaving a comment. Alhaji, thank you for leaving a comment. Calorie Strong. We don't know who you are because the name is a little bit difficult, but we're just going through our comment list and we wanted to mention you by name and to appreciate you. We hope you listen to this epic episode and you receive our appreciation. Thank you all very much. Yes, and in the spirit of appreciation, would you like to thank our listeners from our top 5 countries?
Of course. So the United States is our top country. We thank you, all our listeners from the United States watching. We thank you, all our listeners from the United States who are streaming and viewing and listening to our podcast. Nigeria, our people, thank you so much.
Show.
Germany, vielen Dank. Wir sind so glücklich und dankbar, dass du uns gehört haben.
Yeah, vielen Dank.
And for those in the United Kingdom and Canada, thank you so very much for listening to us from these different countries. We are grateful and thankful for you.
Yeah, awesome. Well, our next episode would be the last for the year. We are looking forward to wrapping up the year with you all. Thank you for sticking with us. We are going to have a great year next year. So until we come your way next Tuesday, let's have a wonderful Christmas celebration. And let's not forget that Jesus Christ is the reason for the season. Let's celebrate with our families and let's celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus.
Alrighty, take care everyone. Toodles!